This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. When you sign up for any subscription at curiositystream.com/HAI, you'll also get access to Nebula, where tomorrow we'll release part 2 of our original trivia show. Hey there, and welcome to Houston. I'm Sam, your realtor, and I understand you're thinking of moving here. Well, let me show you some options. How about this lovely 4-bedroom home here? What's that in the background, you ask? Oh, just a massive multi-level parking garage. And across the street, well, a drive-through for a taco shop, of course. You're saying no? Alright, well then, how about this luxurious estate, huh? Plenty of room. What do you mean, what's up there? Oh, you mean the 40-story skyscraper in your backyard? Well, I'm sure you'd get used to it. No? Well, here's a sure winner. Who wouldn't want to live in a beautiful condo by the ocean? What's that rumbling noise, you ask? Maybe it's a raccoon rustling through the dumpster, or wait, yeah, maybe it's the giant wooden roller coaster right next door. But hey, Texas does have a great education system. It's ranked in the top 34 in the US. Check out this multi-purpose building with a preschool in it. Sure, there's an erotica shop in the parking lot, but think of what a great learning experience that'll be for young Zayden. What's that? You don't want to move to Houston anymore? And you want to know why the 4th most populous city in America has a layout that seems to have been engineered by a child who snorted a few too many crayons? Well, let me tell you about zoning laws and how Houston doesn't have them. Zoning laws are basically how most non-Houston cities make themselves make sense, instead of making themselves into confusing nonsense towns with cheating baseball teams. You see, most cities are split into a series of zones, or districts, each of which has restrictions about what types of buildings can be built there, how tall they can be, how wide they can be, if they can have pointy things at the top, etc., and what those buildings can be used for. Living in, working in, running an 80-hour-a-week unpaid animator internship program in, and so on. Probably the 3 most common types of districts are residential, commercial, and industrial. Residential districts are where people have, you guessed it, residences, in which they reside residentially. In most residential districts, zoning laws dictate that the buildings must be for the purpose of housing. When it comes to restricting size, residential districts are usually subdivided into even more specific districts. There are districts for low-density single-family homes, and other ones for higher-density multi-family homes, like apartment buildings, or duplexes, or triplexes, or quadruplexes, or whatever comes next. There are also commercial districts, which have buildings where people buy and sell stuff. Shoe stores, sock stores, pants stores, short stores, capri stores, legging stores, and restaurants. And other businesses, probably. I'm not a scientist. Like residential districts, commercial districts are usually subdivided further. There are commercial neighborhood districts, where you can only have low foot traffic stuff that serves nearby neighborhoods, like maybe a small grocery store, high-density commercial districts, where you'd put a shopping mall, and of course GEICO commercial districts, where you'd put a talking gecko who could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Finally, industrial districts are typically where you put the buildings where people make stuff. Factories and refineries and big warehouses where people burn money and make plots to kill the Batman, and it's good that they're far away because they are usually loud, unsightly, and somewhat more dangerous than other properties. There are also a ton of other types of districts: agricultural districts, rural districts, historic districts, District 9s, District 12s, and so on. Zoning is done for a number of reasons. One is to increase or preserve the value of property. For example, a 4-bedroom house will suddenly become worth much less if you built a strip club next to it. It also helps to just make cities make sense and be safer. Zoning is why we don't typically have oil refineries next to preschools, but some cities just want to watch the world burn, and when Houston looked at other cities with their perfect little districts and cute little maps, they laughed in their faces and said, why would we be a good city that makes sense when we could be a weird, confusing city that puts a crematorium in the middle of a residential neighborhood? In fact, the Houstonians have voted against establishing zoning laws 3 times, in 1948, 1962, and 1993. Houston is not a completely lawless wasteland, though. It still does regulate development through a complex series of policies, ordinances, strategies, plans, efforts, doodles, and try our bests. In the end, land use in Houston is shaped by 3 main mechanisms, at least according to this article in Planning Magazine, the official magazine of the American Planning Association, and to which Dave from City Beautiful confusingly has 3 subscriptions to. The first is large-scale initiatives, which are generally run by philanthropic and civic groups and aim to create big projects like the Bayou Greenways, 150 miles of planned trails on which Houstonians can go on a scenic walk or bike ride through their jumbled-up garbage town. Next, there are planning tools, like historic districts and deed restrictions, which let developers limit what can be built on private land. For example, River Oaks, the wealthiest neighborhood in Houston, has no apartment buildings or office buildings because when that neighborhood was developed, the developers put into the deed of every piece of property that you could only have houses there. Finally, there is a development code in certain areas of Houston which governs size and height, just not use, but unless Houston gives a fourth referendum a go, the Space City will always remain a place where you can put a residential neighborhood directly next to an oil refinery. Houston's city layout doesn't really make sense. But you know what else doesn't really make sense? That instead of chilling out during quarantine, I decided to create a new Nebula original, a trivia game show called Sam from Wendover Presents, a very good trivia show presented by Sam from Wendover. Part 1 is out now, and Part 2 will go up tomorrow, and as the name might suggest, it is very good. The best way to get access to Nebula is through the CuriosityStream bundle deal, which includes Nebula with any subscription initiated at curiositystream.com/HAI, and they're having a sale where a yearly subscription is 26% off, making it less than $15 a year for 2 whole streaming sites. So when you're finished watching our contestants get mad at me for all the challenges I made them do and didn't warn them about, you could check out their thousands of top-quality documentaries and nonfiction TV shows, including the great Pompeii Disaster Street, about new ruins discovered in an archaeological dig of a city even more messed up than Houston. So go to curiositystream.com/HAI, get the bundle deal, and most importantly, watch my damn trivia show.